Well, we continue with more political matters. Economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema this week returns to the East London Magistrates Court for pre-sentencing proceedings in his firearms discharge case. Malema was found guilty in October 2025 and multiple firearm-related charges stemming from a 2018 EFF birthday rally in Mdatsane, Eastern Cape. The pre-sentencing hearing is scheduled to continue on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, to weigh in on the legal and the political ramifications, we're going to be joined by the Dean Faculty of Economics, Development and Business Sciences at the University of Mpumalanga, Professor Kidiboni Pago, as well as Advocate Matsobane Tlokana. Good morning to the both of you, and thank you for your time at this hour. Perhaps we can start off with the legal picture at this point. Advocate Tlokana, let me start with you. Malema's legal team pushing for a non-custodial sentence. Talk to us about how realistic that is at this point. What is transpiring in the pre-sentencing hearings as well? What should we be expecting as we look at the likelihoods, possibilities and probabilities?
No, I thank you. Thank you for the invitation and thank you to the viewers. Honestly speaking, legally, the sentence, actually in this case, there's what we call mandatory sentencing, meaning that according to the legislation, President of the EFF is supposed to be sentenced, but there is nothing that actually concludes the court from diverting from that particular sentence, from that particular position. But for that to happen, what they then need, the legal team of President Julius Malema, they need to then present to the Honorable Court compelling circumstances and make out a case to the Honorable Court on why he must not be sentenced. But that cannot just be done because of, that he's a famous figure, but they must make out a case because at the end of the day, the law has precedence on how each case is being dealt with. But on it is possible, as I said, but again, they need to make out a case for that. And at this particular time, I don't think that will be easy, taking into consideration that he's a public figure and also the law. They must make sure that the law also applies to him, just like it applies to ordinary citizens.
Well, if we look at the precedents that this case sets, but even just the factors that the court weighs up to your point, what's going on there? What are they taking into consideration? We already alluded to the fact that he's a public figure, but what else?
Honestly, I cannot say much because I have not been following the case so closely, but I can only comment from the legal side on how I then understand how the sentencing works, particularly in relation to the contravention of the Firearm Act and also how the Criminal Law Amendment Act works in relation to sentencing.
Okay, thank you for that.
What I can...
Okay, so let's then get a political implications picture as well. Prof. Kidiboni, I'm going to bring you to the conversation now. The significance that this has on the EFF for the party itself going forward. Tell us a little bit more, even if we're looking at leadership vulnerability at this point, whatever the outcome, how is this also impacting what's at stake internally in the EFF?
Good morning, Lizelle, and good morning to the viewers, and thanks also to my colleague here, the advocate. Lizelle, this is quite important, and I think a very significant moment for EFF, as you have alluded in the beginning. The case has been taking place since 2018, but I think this is a very momentous part that the case has arrived, and it actually has huge and very huge implication. Firstly, for the leader himself, that if, of course, he has already been found guilty, and that if he's going to be sentenced, he may lose his a parliamentary seat, because he would then have to vacate that position according to the parliamentary laws. But I think for the political party, for EFF, that would be a major problem, because since the beginning, the formation of the party, Julius has been the leader of the party, and I cannot imagine how the party would find traction and meaning inside its own, not just constituency, but also inside its own rank and file. We need to understand that membership within parties usually have a lot of differences in leadership choices, options, views. So often the glue that holds that and gives the marching order would be the main leader, and in this case, it's Julius Malema. So the implication, I think, would be major, would be that the unity of the party would immediately face a challenge. And the last part, I think, Lizelle, would be the fact that we are going for the local government elections. So this is a very horrible timing for this case to be at this juncture, unless something extraordinary happens.
Prof, thank you for those sentiments. Advocate Tlokana, let me bring you back into the conversation. Another talking point we've seen is Malema accusing the presiding magistrate or criticizing, her publicly. So talk to us a little bit more about whether there is any legal basis for such a claim. Does it represent political posturing intended for his support base? Does it have any legal basis as well?
Thank you again. Honestly speaking, usually when people they are before court, you will find that, particularly the accused, they would always criticize the presiding officers. Particularly looking at this case, this is not just any small case. And again, as they said, Julius Malema, we know that he's a public figure. So I don't think there's any legal base, because if he thinks that the presiding officer has acted outside of her powers, then he can then pursue any legal route that is there to challenge the decisions or challenge the magistrate for acting inappropriately, if there's any inappropriate act that the magistrate she has demonstrated. But at this particular time, from what I have seen and from the comment that the president he has been saying, mostly for me, it's just political statements, but again, he must also be careful as the president of the party that a person of his caliber, the more they criticize presiding officers, especially in such cases, then he's also, casting a negative image towards the judiciary. And that in itself, it does, for me, where I'm sitting, creates a bit of a situation of hostility between the members of the public and the judiciary. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything inappropriate. Besides that, the president, what he's saying is just political statements, not anything legally challengeable.
So, Prof. Gidibone, let's pick up from Advocate Lokana's point there, because we are in a local government election year, which you've also highlighted. And so if we look at the implications of what's transpiring, I mean, Malema did vow to appeal the guilty verdict. So if we look at what that means, could a confirmed sentence then affect his eligibility as a member of South Africa's parliament? What does it look like in real terms when it comes to South African law and how politics operates?
Look, essentially what it means is that if he is sentenced, because he's already a member of parliament, he will then immediately have to lose his position in parliament, and that they should have a replacement, because he would be serving a sentence or whatever form of the outcome that would be. As long as he is going to be serving a prison sentence, then he will need to vacate that. But that is just one thing, Lisa. The other thing is that we are going for local government elections. Yeah. So what that means is that EFF will need a lot of certainty in terms of their leadership, ideas, planning, and direction. So his role would obviously bring in his absence will bring a big vacuum in terms of the role and the impact of EFF as a person. We need to remember that he's been in the leadership role of the EFF since its inception. So that would tell us a lot, including the fact that EFF would almost be directionless. We must remember that EFF has lost at least a few of its prominent leaders recently. So that means that it's really a party that is facing major problems ahead of it. If it does not successfully handle this matter, as the advocate is saying, I think we are going to see a very struggling EFF, in my view. So probably what they should have done at this point in time is to put systems in place to be able to make sure that there will be a bit of continuity and stability. But I don't think that would actually be sufficient at this point in time.
Sure. So we are monitoring those developments. And Advocate Logana, even if we're looking at the judiciary at large, trust in the judiciary. I mean, if the sentence is considered harsh or lenient, what are also, what's also going to mean for the public at large when it comes to trust in the judicial system?
Honestly speaking, as it stands, I don't think that the president is going to get, a lighter sentence. But again, we do not know the personal circumstances that are going to be advanced by the legal team that will persuade the court that they should deviate from, the minimum sentencing of 15 years. What I can say is that I trust that the judiciary will, make a decision or a sentencing that is quite fair. And as it stands, the public will just have to have confidence and trust the wisdoms of the court. I believe the sentencing will be quite fair. And I don't think that the court will do a decision or will impose a sentencing that is going to create a negative image towards, the judiciary or create an image that the public, when it perceives the judiciary, they see it to be a decision that is, creating that idea that the law always favors the rich and the politically connected. So I think that's what also will lead the court to actually do a proper sentencing in this matter and consider all factors involved, looking at the kind of the person they are dealing with.
That's where we have to wrap up the conversation. But thank you to the...
Drop your own opinion in the comment section. Let's know what you think. For more news and updates like this, subscribe. See you in the next one, and bye.